walk through how to remove a background when the remove a background button does not work. So open Photoshop, you'll hit create new. You can choose default Photoshop size because we're just practicing today, and you'll have a blank canvas. Now, I asked you to download 2 different images from Google Classroom. One is a white cat, one is a black cat. So go ahead and select the white cat image. You can open your Finder, which is your little blue and white guy, and it will have your recent downloads in there, and then just drag it across onto the page and let go. Okay, so once your cat is on here, I'm going to add example. So the reason that we are doing this is because last week we learned how to use the remove background quick tool. But if I do that here, if I convert to layers, yes, and then I hit quick action twice and remove background, you can tell it removes part of my cat's face, which is not what we want. Okay, so we're going to go up to edit and hit undo. And this time I'm going to show you how to remove the background a different way. So the third option down is a lasso tool, and to you it probably looks like this, okay? But you're going to right click and it will give you more options. So click the right side of your mouse and we're going to go back down to Magnetic Lasso tool. Now this one will create anchor points based on where it thinks you want them, but you can also guide it, okay? So an anchor point is just a point that won't move while you're trying to trace it. So we're going to go overhead and try to trace around our cat. So I'm going to put my first anchor point and then I'm just dragging it and letting it do the work. And then I'm going to put a second anchor point saying stop there and kind of turn. And then we're going to put a third anchor point and I'm just going to let it drag itself. Fourth anchor point. So every time I want an anchor point, I'm just clicking with my mouse and then it's making sure that that spot doesn't move. Okay, so now I'm just dragging and letting the mouse select where it thinks it should be. And I'm going to put an anchor point at the bottom, one in the corner, and one up by the ear. And then go back to the middle. So watch what happens when I click back to the starting point. It'll create these ants. So the ants are just little lines that outline around that selected thing. Now if I press delete, it's going to delete my cat, which is not what I want. I want it to delete the background. So I come up here to undo, and now I can come up to select and choose inverse. And inverse just means the opposite. So by inverse, I'm selecting the background, and you can see that the ants are now running all the way around it. Okay? So once the ants are around the background, then I can press delete, and it will delete the background. Okay, it may not look very different, because you also have a white canvas behind the cat. So to turn off the white canvas, hit the eyeball next to the white rectangle, and that will make the canvas in the background turn off. Then you can see that your white cat is over checkers. And those little checkered marks mean that it is transparent. It's a transparent background, which is what we want. So I'm going to click my move tool to say yes, stop, that's good. And then I'm going to hit Command D, and that will deselect so that the little ants will stop running around the cat. Okay, so from here you can take a screenshot, Command-Shift-4, and just take a screenshot of what you worked on, and then you can turn that in. Okay, and then we're going to do the black cat also. A little more practice. So hit Create New, default Photoshop size, and pretty much same method. Take the black cat, drag him across, or her, and then we're going to come up here and choose the Magnetic Lasso tool. Okay, and then same thing. If I use the quick button to convert to layers, yes, and the quick action button to remove the background, it removes part of my cat, which is not what I want. So I'm going to hit undo, and this time I'm going to use the lasso tool. But before I do that, okay, so I'm back to my lasso, Magnetic Lasso, and I'm just going to drag it around the edge of the cat. And it does pretty good if there's a difference in lighting. It's when the lighting becomes very blurred that it has a hard time. So if you think it's having a hard time, just click, and then you can kind of force the lasso to go where you want it to go. And if it ever goes to the wrong spot, you can hit delete and it will start backtracking. See how my anchor points are backtracking? You can also come in here if it's going wild, like all over the place, and you're like, oh, what's it doing? Hit escape, and that will just escape you from that tool altogether. Okay, so real quick redo. Okay, and here you're just going to have to kind of guess where you think the edge of the cat face is and force some anchor points there. And then eventually you'll have the ants, and you'll come up here to select inverse and then delete and hit OK if it wants to do that. Okay, so I have to be on the black cat layer and then press delete. And then you can get rid of the background also to be transparent. Okay, and Command D will deselect it. Command Shift R will let you take, Command Shift 4 will let you take a screenshot so you can turn it in.